Hello, I'm Joel Blackford with Beth Hesed Sabbath Fellowship. Thank you for joining us. We're virtual only, based out of St. Paul, Minnesota. The phone number works if you'd like to contact us. We do the philosophy of eschatology, what you need to know, your reality, our existence. It's a busy time, people. This is a time of Matthew 24, birth pangs, and Revelation 6, which talks about things like the birth pangs. And that's pretty much what we're going through with Revelation today to solve it. There is a pole flip coming. It's accelerating. There's no doubt about it. There's more information on it. We just had a large explosion of the sun. It was a flare, an X1.4, I believe, flare that just occurred. And so we're in trouble because we see more things occurring that lead to a magnetic pole shift. Okay, and more anomalies, more record auroras and things like that. So, like the diaper that you see on the right hand side, things are leaking through, more is occurring, and it is unexplainable by mankind. It's explainable by God, obviously. It's part of the end times plan. So we're studying the philosophy of the end of days. We're trying not to twist the Bible. We're telling you, yes, the pole flip is going to occur. We're going to narrow that down just a little bit and match it up with many other signs today and go through the news. So this is from Ben Davidson. This is fairly recent from Space Weather News, and so March 25th, which is recent, okay? And then what he's talking about is someone pointed me towards a collection of scientists doing what I do in general, and they caught my attention immediately by suggesting something external to our solar system is impacting the Earth's core, causing climate change, and it's related to the magnetic anomalies seen all over the planet. And it's not just the Earth, it's a solar system shift. Ben is correct. It is a whole shift. Okay. And so on the left hand side here by the arrows, you'll see the appearance of an additional external cosmic influence on the planet's core, which imparts additional energy to the core, which will force the shift. So you need different things to occur. You need energy to move the core from the crust. And that's what's starting to occur. So once again, don't blame it on humans. It's a solar system shift, and according to Ben again, it was their second special report that shook my core. I wake up every day hoping to prove myself wrong because he's got young kids, and he doesn't want this to occur in the next 2 to 3 years or 5 years, whatever. But it is, okay? I wake up every day to prove myself wrong on Earth's disaster cycle. Hopefully, we won't actually have to endure this magnetic pole shift and the great solar flash in our lifetimes. Continue on with Ben. Now I know Earth's magnetic poles are about to have a major acceleration. They found a way to look at the data. I live and breathe. This is what he does all day long in a way he'd never thought before, and it's going to be unlike anything we've ever seen before. Okay, so once again, Ben Davidson on the 25th. So we're already seeing the days shortening, which is biblical, okay? They really started to change in 1995. So you just see the days shortening just a little bit, maybe a millisecond here and there, but that's enough to call it the days shortening, which is biblical. There's more of a wobble. We've seen it wobbling a little bit from 1590 to 1853, and then the big wobbles faster, going up through 2025. And it's heading towards Russia, which means Russia's in trouble. They're going to get colder. Okay, so the anomaly is heating up, and at some point in time, it's going to drop off. Okay, so we've tracked this over the years. The NASA reported this back in the year 2010 from 1859 to 2000 that the field, our magnetic field, our ozone layer, basically had dropped by 10% from 1859 to 2000. Okay, fine. So it's lost 10%. Well, then ESA, European Space Agency, came back in 2010. By about 2015, they said through the year 2010, it had dropped to 15%. Well, then if you extrapolate that, oh my, that means we're probably down 27%. Okay, so this is a report from 2019 from ESA again, talking about the South Atlantic anomaly and how it's growing and morphing and changing. Keep in mind, if you're raising chickens, they need infrared light. They don't like all this UV that's leaking through, just like the leaky diaper. Okay, and so we're going to have a pole flip. I'm at the 45th parallel north right now. I will end up probably around the 45th parallel south. It's going to work out great for Greenland. They'll be on the pole basically. But unfortunately, if you're in India, you're going to be on the North Pole. And certain other areas like Florida is going to be down near the pole too. So just keep in mind, you're going to have to move. Canada is going to look very, very tempting at some point in time. Northern Canada, of all things. So when is the kill shot? Ben's been talking about it for a period of time, thinking, that we probably will get to 2040. Well, no, not really. It's starting to bend now. It's starting to impact us faster. Ben and other scientists are saying it's about 3 years away in terms of really start losing more field and more of a pole shift will kick into gear. Okay. And so he had charted it out that it was 2040s, maybe 2030s, maybe, but now it's definitely 30% to 50% chance of the 2030s, and you'll know it, you'll see it, you'll feel it. Okay, so it'll bend at some point in time, and will kick in. I'm saying the sixth seal occurs fairly soon. The sixth bowl, I don't know when the trumpets will hit, but the sixth bowl would be probably later on, about 6 to 7 years later on. Okay, and then once again, that 1995 change, you can see this is the pole drift. You can see how it's just drifting faster. So Earth's rotation is shortening by little pieces, just a little bit every year, every day. And here's the verses from Matthew 24:22. Except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved, but for the elect's sake, those days will be shortened. So there you go. It's biblical in a way that you didn't expect. So this is showing the chart of the core shift towards Siberia in 1998. Well, now it's speeding up. Interesting. So according to Ben, on the right-hand side, there's now a 50-50 chance in my mind that the very next geomagnetic jerk, not more than 3 years away, will be the one that sends us over the edge. So he's saying about 3 years. There you go. So now you know the point of the video. Leaving only a few years left after that, and what's worse, if they are correct about the Siberian traps, and I don't know what the Siberian traps are, reawakening the greatest volcanic event in the Earth's history, then will be the worst disaster cycle since the Blake event over 100,000 years ago. And you'll see the volcanoes and the information about that and the earthquakes coming up later on in this video. Okay, so let's continue on, and you see, the 90-degree turn. That's why I would be 45th parallel north, and I'll end up at the 45th parallel south. It's more of a twist, but it's a turn, and so they're predicting it, they're seeing it start to take off, so just get ready for it, people, okay? And continuing on, volcanic activity should increase as the pole shift falls off the cliff. The crust will shift and open fissures like the Siberian plume. Interesting. So there's your Siberian plume in the picture, and I don't know exactly what all of those things mean, but we've had these activities before where the pole has shifted, and it seems like it's going to happen again. So this is getting back to Ben and a later video, first identifying the fact that the Earth's rotation speed is increasing, shortening the length of a day. It's another thing you can't blame on humans. They break down the 1990s pole shift event that sent us from losing 5% of the field per century to 5% every decade, in which the movement of the poles into overdrive, which shot them into overdrive, along with taking abrupt an unexpected 90-degree turn and a brand new Earth change. For the list, they found a paper I missed from 2017 highlighting the molten jet stream in the core, and it's speeding up. I imagine, of course, their main point was that they think the major event of this cycle will be the reawakening of the Siberian traps. And oh boy, I hope it is. It was the greatest volcanic event in Earth's history. It erupted for 1 million years and changed the planet forever. But continuing on with more Ben, it was the next two images I'm going to show from the report that really got my attention, and I'm not actually too worried about the Siberian traps. First, this is what I was trying to explain to you guys a couple of weeks ago. The magnetic pole shift progression is not linear. It goes up and down. It kind of waves, okay, year by year. But with a long-term trend towards the acceleration and the pole shift, outstanding identification here at the moment of acceleration where we start shifting 10 times faster. That is easily visible on the magnetic pole motion tracker. The dots are year by year, so if they're closer together, the pole is moving slower Further apart means the pole is moving faster, and that's the speed up right there. So you can just see everything speeding up. Where the North Pole is heading towards Russia. Okay. I went ahead and actually did a maximum velocity plots going backwards, so you can see before the 1850s, everything was normal. It was, we expected things to stay normal, and they really were kind of normal. Even, because there's a wave-like motion of this. It's not abrupt, other than the jerks. But now, since 1995, everything's moved into overdrive. So we know the pole shift is coming. Okay? This is when the pole shift in total began. Now going along with this is something I noticed in their motion minus the Chandler wobble. Graphic folks, I live and breathe this data, and at no point did I ever think to do this as long as I suspected that the major accelerations occur after the slowdowns, like it's taking a breath, gearing up for a lurch forward again. Folks, that's exactly what is shown here, and there is no good way to mathematically or even quantitatively show this fall without first removing the Chandler wobble, which I never thought to do, after every single slowdown, which all include a curvature of the motion vector. There is a major leap forward in speed and progress in the magnetic pole shift, and yes, it's clear we just had our curve in the vector, the slowdown of stalling of speed acceleration, and that means there is only one thing coming next, and that's the major concern, of course, which will be this acceleration that takes us over the edge again. So we're expecting things to get rather ugly going forward. So the long-term trajectory is going to be that it's going to wobble faster, harder, and take us into this pole shift at some point in time. And it could be, you'll notice it severely in 3 years, but probably it still is 7 to 10 years away in terms of the final pole shift. Okay. So this is, how long do we have? Earth's magnetic field could flip within a human lifetime. Well, according to Ben on the right-hand side, I do hope we remember the now famous studies confirming that the magnetic pole shifts accelerate to rapid speeds that can bring the shift in less than 100 years. We've already eclipsed that time in this event, so it's anyone's guess how much time we have left, how much time until the acceleration reaches 100 times faster than modern shift rates. That is where we're going. If we were to hit that rate tomorrow, the world ends before 2030. Hopefully that doesn't happen. I have long said that math is suggesting the pole shift should occur a bit before 2050 and in the late 2040s, but that is an extrapolation and not a crystal ball. So, how long do we actually have? And so rapid geomagnetic changes inferred from Earth's observations and numerical simulations. Let's read Ben on the right-hand side. We await the next acceleration of the next reoccurrence of Earth's disaster cycle of space radiation and climate chaos and animal navigation failures, not to mention the fact that we now have the new risk of modern times of losing every power grid at the same time. Folks, the end of the window is unchanged, but now, instead of it being sometime in the late 2040s, I'm now going to say that it could be anywhere from 2030 to the late 2040s. We'll see what the data shows again. We're awaiting the next acceleration. So he's saying basically you'll see things pick up in 3 years. So 2028 and 2029. Interesting. So you'll see more solar activity and less protection from the Earth, from our magnetosphere, and that's what's going to be your next few years here. You'll see weather like you've never seen in your life. You'll see a faster pole shift as things move quicker, and so then at some point in time, you will notice the jet streams will be going much faster, and the planes, some will be ripped out of the skies, but then they'll stop, and you'll see this four angels standing at the four corners of the earth, holding back the four winds of the earth, so that no wind, that means the jet streams, would not blow on the land, on the sea, or any tree. Okay, and so basically you're going to see that part of the seventh seal as things slow down for a moment. The jet streams stop for a period of time, and then it'll pick up again. Okay. This is all during this time frame. I underlined 9/7 of 25. That's our next lunar eclipse. Okay, blood moon eclipse coming up. We had one on 3/14, and that was an interesting date. I'll show you why. Keep in mind, if the sun goes from yellow to white to red to black, it's going to kick off a micronova or some kind of a flare that'll be huge, and that'll knock our power out for about 3 to 4 months. We'll go into chaos. And that is biblical because here it is in the sixth seal. Okay. And so the earth's kings will know, and we'll know when this is going to occur. Then I watched as he broke the sixth seal, and there was a great earthquake. I'm arguing that's a micronova or a flare of some sort. It then locks the crust. The mantle will break free. The sun turned black as a final stage of micronova or something like that, like a flare, but as sackcloth, trichonos. So sakkos, trichonos in the Greek, which means it's layered like goats' shiny mohair Angora sweaters, that kind of a fluff. Worn in mourning, that could mean 3 days of darkness. It's possible, it makes sense. And the full moon became blood red. The next one is Elul 14, which is September 7th of 2025, about 6 months from now. The stars fell from heaven to earth. That sounds like a micronova dust accumulation event caused by the galactic magnetic current sheet coming through and sticking to the sun and planets eventually too. And it drops, so as a fig tree drops, it's probably winter timing figs when shaken by a strong wind. Revelation 6:12 through 13. So we can expect this possibly this fall. Okay, or within this time frame of the blood moon eclipses coming up. So once again, I mentioned to you that you will have no wind at this point in time on Revelation 7. Then we'll move into Revelation 8, and that's actually the seventh seal. But this is a sign of the seventh seal. When you see the jet streams go crazy and horrible storms, and you're going to notice them this summer, people. You will notice the storms. Then when you see the jet streams cease, that means we're right on the edge of going into the seventh seal and into the tribulation. So just get ready for that. So once again, the sixth seal has all of those signs, and that is the galactic magnetic current sheet coming through and occluding the sun and causing either a micronova or a flare that'll be severe, and it'll knock out the satellites and knock out your power and your grid and things like that. And you'll be back in the Stone Age for about 3 months. Okay. Then you'll go into the trumpets, and you'll see another occlusion event from the dust. Then you'll go into the bowls, and you'll see a couple of occlusion events, but basically then that's when the pole shift probably occurs, during the bowls at the end when things are just horrific. That's when things go over the cliff. Okay, and that'll be a kill shot at some point in time, and that will cause people to ride out for the big Gog-Magog war on horses, because everything will be knocked out, electronics and everything else, other than certain things protected. Okay, so as we head into the trumpets, you'll notice more space debris. I'm telling you that Apophis is not the biggest thing to ever hit us, but it'll be big, okay, bigger than the Eiffel Tower. And that's big like New York City, so basically that's what Apophis will look like. That's due April 13th of 2029. We're not going to be washed out this time. We're going to be burned out. So the satellites are going to be gone. Power grids are going to be gone. And God will burn it all out. It'll be a hot washcloth. Okay. This is from Tom Horn. He set this up a few years ago in his book, that he thinks things are going to kick off in 2025. And he's dead now, so we can't argue with him. And that at some point in time, we'll go into these I would argue, we're already through many of the seals. We'll go into the trumpets and then the bowls. So he's citing that. I'm saying the polar flip acceleration probably occurs 2029. And then Apophis comes through April 13th of 2029, as I mentioned. Then the 7 bowls would be poured out probably from 2029 to 2032. But obviously, I don't know yet. I mean, we need the event to kick it off. We don't know when that event will kick it off. And everything is just, we don't know the day or the hour. We know that. Okay? Now, the signs that are coming up. The eclipse signs that we've seen already. Well, there are more signs that have been occurring. And so those are the Aleph and the Tav eclipses that occurred in 2017 and 2024, and also the one in 2023. So many different solar eclipses, and the Satanists are always watching those signs. Okay, they worship during those times, and we'll prove to you how they worship just recently here. So as of today, and this is Sunday, and we are March 30th, we cited the new moon. I didn't personally, but I have friends that did. And so we're absolutely positive of when, April 13th, sunset going into the 14th would be Passover. And so we know that time now. I'm going to give you these dates, and we'll talk about them when we go through these signs, the news events. 314, the Purim blood moon eclipse. 320, the spring equinox. And Satan was celebrated during that time frame. I'll show you. Zadok calendar kicked off on 326, which is that Wednesday. That's their Nissan 1 New Year. I don't believe they're correct, but it's interesting. I do watch their stuff. 328, we had a Satan's Day. I'll show you that. Devil's Horn solar eclipse on 329. I'll show you that. New moon sighted. I just proved that to you that was sighted today. And then 48, various people are setting rapture dates. 48 is one of them. They'll all be wrong. 412, calculated Passover. That's what, I should have said the 13th. Sorry. Oh, no, calculated is on the 12th. We're going to be on the 13th, okay? And then the observed Passover is on the 13th, as I mentioned. And then 420 will be the Easter Sunday. Interesting. And on the right-hand side, what you're looking at is the Zadok calendar. It's interesting. I mean, I do note it. I'm aware of it. Okay, so who's worshiping and when? This is after the blood moon eclipse, but during the time of the spring equinox on March 20th, the Satanists were meeting in Berlin at the seat of Satan, and there was Hillary Clinton, who was a Satanist, and Bill Clinton, a Satanist, and other Satanists. And they're meeting in Germany. So the World Forum. Very interesting. So Haller showed me this morning. So I'm glad that I put it in there. I want you to be aware of this because it's very interesting to see when and how they worship and where, obviously, which would be Berlin, the seat of Satan, which is Revelation 2:13. And there you go. So meeting on the 18th and the 19th, just after the blood moon eclipse, but just before the vernal equinox. Very intriguing. Then they worship Satan during that time frame. You know what they do. The elites worship Satan. You just know it. Okay. So once again, I cited Haller today. This is his report from 3/30 of 2025. Once again, Berlin. So according to Turley here, last week the globalists gathered in Berlin to seek a new era based on European values that not only involve the expansion of transnational systems, but the contraction of free speech rights. Okay. That's their worship. And then on the left-hand side, way over there, in Berlin, Europe's elites are very nervous. There's too much freedom of speech. Thank you, Haller, for pointing those things out. So what other weird things are going on? This is a portal that opened up on March 24th, so Monday of the last week here, and they blamed it on Elon, but it's an odd-looking portal, okay? And I'm arguing all the way through that the Satanists are trying to worship, to open the portals and allow. Now, some of the fallen angels are going to come up from the abyss, okay? Revelation 9, the fifth trumpet. But then the sixth trumpet, some of them come up from an area that seems to be around Babylon, okay? But then in Revelation 12, you will notice these fallen angels come from heaven, some various section of heaven, okay? So on the right-hand side here, solar eclipse of March 29th of 2025, Cody Osborne said this. After the blood moon, we had absolutely devastating weather across the world. Yes, I want you to be aware of that. After the blood moon, which is still ongoing. And by the way, if you're from Tennessee, my prayers for you. I have a wonderful friend named Carla that lives down there. The storms are going to show up at any point in time today, which would be the 30th. Okay, now 2 weeks later, right before the Devil's Horn solar eclipse tomorrow, there's a massive earthquake, 7.7, at the epicenter in Myanmar. Hundreds of people died from the rubbles. And in between that time, there's a major discovery of the pyramids. Underneath the pyramids, we seem to have structures and things like that. We have a giant spiral portal up here in the sky, and it's also reported that they found the Ark of the Covenant. I don't know about that, but it's just interesting. This portal popped up on March 24th. So we have the Satanic get-together on March 28th, which is interesting. You have to know what the Satanists are doing. Satanists arrest after punching protester at Black Mass in Kansas State House, and he kept on screaming, "Hail Satan, I dedicate this building to Satan." What a curse. Who wants it? Thank you, Daily Wire, for posting it. I want you to be aware that Topeka, Kansas, their prefix in their in their zip codes are 666. Everything's 666. Just keep that in mind. There are reasons why the Satanists picked out Topeka. The Satanic Grotto previously said Friday's Black Mass event would dedicate the grounds and our legislature to the glory of Satan. God will fall and Kansas will be embraced by the black flame of Lucifer, the group said. I will be performing that Black Mass in our state capital. Satan Grotto President Michael Stewart previously told the Daily Wire, if they have to arrest me, then they have to arrest me. Okay, at the same time that there's the fight going on between the Satanists and the Christians, you've got the X-class solar flare going on the 28th. Just note it. Just note the signs going on. And then the next day you'd have the devil's horns going on. It's just timing, eruptions, all the weird stuff going on. Just note it all, okay? So and this was a big explosion on the 28th, okay? It was let's see here, 2,000 kilometers per second. Wow, okay, that's as big as anything. I mean, look at the Carrington event on the bottom here on the left-hand side. September 1859 is 2,400 kilometers per second. I mean, we were almost up to Carrington level. That was a big explosion. Then, fortunately, it went the other direction, but it's causing some weird weather for us. So, Myanmar, Thailand, powerful earthquake that unleashed 334 atomic bombs, according to a geologist that talked to CNN. Keep in mind that this is what's coming for us at some point in time. They shall no longer hunger anymore or thirst or the sun fall upon them. When you look at the left-hand side over here and the heat too, you'll see it's like the sun falling on you. So John got the physics right, that these explosions from the sun are going to cause it to literally fall on us. That's he described it well, okay? And it is there in the Greek. I've checked that through. I don't happen to have the Greek up right now. So Myanmar, Bangkok, Thailand, all these areas were hit horribly. And so the verse that I cite for this is, for peoples will fight each other, nations will fight each other, and there will be famines and earthquakes in various places of the world. They're starting to pop up again. It looks like we're going into that earthquake cycle, okay? Megaquake, 7.7. Just keep in mind the 7.7 is interesting too. So the death toll, 1,644, probably higher than that. Number injured, about 3,400 people. And Tonga, today. So this was the 28th. Tonga was on the 30th. So just big earthquakes. They're starting to pick up. We know that's part of the birth pangs. The devil's horns, it's just interesting to see that. So now Eid is going to be today, and the new moon is today. And so, yeah, Eid is on March 30th, okay? So Aaron Levarco, president of LNM, announces the U.S. government will recognize all of the Temple Mount as sovereign Israeli territory and free for all religions in coming days. First time since 70 A.D., nearly 2 millennia. Now, I don't know if they're correct or not, okay? And so will it be a house of prayer for all nations eventually? Maybe not today, but it's interesting that Trump and Netanyahu are talking to Jordan about control of the Temple Mount because Jordan's scared. Syria fell in 11 days. So just keep that in mind. These are very interesting times. So once again, Eid is going to be today, which means they'll break their fast and they'll be happy. And then things are going to occur. I think Iran's going to be attacked in the next 5 weeks. We'll see. So I want you to see the patterns again from 2023, 2024, 2025 of these hybrid and then other eclipses. 4/8 was a big one. You saw that last year. But 3/29 of this year, the partial one, all related to that Haman time frame of Purim, okay? And then the Purim eclipses literally on Purim from 2024, 2025, and next year, 2026. These are interesting cycles. And God said the sun, the moon, the stars would be signs of what he is doing on the earth. That let them be for otot, signs, and for seasons, moedim, and for days and years and things like that. So it's just interesting that it's working out that way. So this is from Jarrett from Supernatural by Design. I want you to see the Pisces angle, but keep it in mind that these things reflect through in gravitational pulls. Like the moon causes our tides and things like that. Well, these planets, their various movements and things like that can cause gravitational changes. And so just keep in mind that according to Asteroid Apophis 7, uh, oh goodness, why am I blanking on the Purim guy? Oh, not Amalek, but anyway, it doesn't matter. So, bottom line is Haman. Haman, I'm sorry, I'm having problems with typical names. But when he arrived at Adar, he found that its zodiacal sign was Pisces, and he said, "Now I will be able to swallow them as fish, which swallow one another." And so it's just interesting. Adar, the sign, the Pisces, things like that. These change gravitational pulls for planets, and sometimes it causes earthquakes. Just keep it in mind. Okay, so the night of 29 March 2025, when Saturn enters the zodiac sign of Pisces. Interesting. Okay, so I don't know what's going to occur. I'm telling you that Saturn's rings have disappeared right now, and it's entering into that time frame. Okay, so in 2025, Pisces astrology focuses on a transformative year, with Saturn entering the sign of March 29th, impacting professions and whatever. Okay, so I don't believe in astrology, but I do believe in gravitational changes. And it's interesting that Saturn's rings are disappearing as of this time. They're still there. It's just that it turned at us. And that can cause a gravitational change and can cause earthquakes. Okay? And other things. So just be aware of that. I'm not saying that I believe in astrology, but I believe in gravitational changes and that planet alignments matter. Okay. And so obviously God put the signs up there for a reason. Okay. So it could be an American Civil War sign. We'll see. Neptune moves into Aries March 30th of 2025. Neptune's orbital period around the sun, or a Neptunian year, is approximately 164.8 years. If you do the math, 4 of 2025 minus 164.8, you basically come into the Civil War timeframe, 1861-ish. Okay, this is from Stefan Burns. Very interesting. I don't like Stefan because he is an astrologer, and he's rather a weird mystical guy. But he's correct with that weird statement that this is a Civil War thing for us. America is due for a Civil War. That's part of the prophecy from Duderman and Wilkerson. We have Neptune shifting into Aries tomorrow. The first time it has been in Aries in 164 years. The last time it made this transition was in 1861, just a couple days after the first shots were fired that started the American Civil War. Next 14 years as Neptune makes its long transit through Aries. Interesting. Just keep that in mind. The weird time frames, weird connections. So I mentioned Duderman. I talked about Wilkerson. On April 5th, you will have the bad people, the Satanists, meeting in Washington, D.C. to try to take down America. And so they want to start the protests. So this has been prophesied. So 5/5 of 25, we will have the people meeting, and they'll be wearing their stupid hats and other masks and things like that. So according to Dmitry Duderman, he said, remember this, Dmitry, the Russian spies have discovered where the nuclear warehouses are in America. When the Americans will think it is peace and safety, we aren't there yet. From the middle of the country, some of the people will start fighting against the Trump's government. I'm arguing Trump's, okay? It makes sense. The government will be busy with internal problems. Then from the ocean, from Cuba, Nicaragua, Mexico, he told me 2 other countries, but I didn't remember what they were. They will bomb the nuclear warehouses. When they explode, America will burn. Okay, there's your prophecy. France issues its citizens with an invasion guide, including how to survive a nuclear attack. If you watch the video of this silly woman that tells you how to prepare for the nuclear attack, she's talking about matches and a lighter and other stupid things, maybe sunglasses, whatever else. She doesn't understand if it's a nuclear attack, you actually have to prepare for that. But this is how deluded Europe is. They're ungodly people. Okay, and then you've got crazy Zelensky saying Putin will die soon and war will end, declares Zelensky. It's just crazy talk. In the middle here by Michael Waltz, he's saying, whether we pull the plug or not today, European navies do not have the capability to defend against the types of sophisticated anti-ship cruise missiles and drones that Houthis are now using. Europe is basically worthless. They've become godless, and now they're worthless. So the U.S. is making it clear Iran is in its crosshairs. So as we ramp up for war against Iran and other places, Europe is, they're godless and they're just pathetic. And it's too bad. I mean, there are some good, godly people in Europe, but not many. Okay, I have some viewers, obviously. Putin, the importance of the Arctic for Russia. So there is the fight over Greenland and the Arctic region. Putin and China want to be able to run their ships through there. As the pole shifts, ice is moving around so that the ships can get through these northern areas around Greenland. So Trump is correct there. Defensively speaking, it makes sense. So the imperialists of the world, these people that I talk about with Hillary Clinton and others, they want to rid the world of America and then go after Israel. And that would be the Gog attack. So in the meantime, Israel should hit Iran's nuclear sites, according to Trump, and that we're setting up for that right now as the B-2 Spirit bombers are assembling on a remote island of Diego Garcia, just south of India, basically. Somebody's in for a nasty surprise. This is Western Journal, talking about how it looks like America and Israel are going to bomb Iran, okay? And Amir Sarfati is saying within 5 weeks. I don't want to say we are attacking Iran's nuclear program, but isn't this exactly how we would get it prepared? Yeah, they're amassing the ability to, the ships and the planes and the bombs to attack from Diego Garcia into Iran, obviously after Ramadan. Okay, and Ramadan is ending as of today, so the next 5 weeks probably. Okay. So, hostile Iran offered peace or World War III. So, Channel 14's Tamir Morag explains that the U.S. can eliminate Iran's entire nuclear program in a single strike using 7 B-2 bombers. Okay, there you go. And you know where they're going to launch from. And Diego Garcia is just far enough away that Iran can't send drones and other things out to go attack it. So, on the right-hand side, I've published for you the text of the letter sent by American President, real Donald Trump, to the Iranian Supreme Leader, Khamenei. Without modification or translated into Arabic, I do not want to comment because it speaks for itself. The following is the text of the letter. So he sends a nice letter to him saying, I don't want to fight with you, but you need to give up on the nuclear plans. You need to de-escalate, other things like that. It isn't going to happen. Iran has no reason to be good. Okay, so Turkey is having issues. Young Turks take to the streets. Millions of them, I believe, are going nuts in Turkey. Basically, I believe that the caliphate is the Gog area, the Magog area, and Syria is part of it too. So this is Turkey, Syria. Syria fell in 11 days. Jordan is aware of that. Jordan is aware that they fell in 11 days. So Turkey is very interesting, and this is all from John Haller today. So watch Turkey. Watch them very carefully. Watch them very carefully. So once again, on the 29th end of 25, we have the Devil's Horns. Interesting eclipse. We've seen it before. Devil's Horns eclipse 2025. Where to watch it. Very interesting that's what occurred. And so March of 2025, we had all of these signs. We had the eclipse, we had Haman, we had the equinox, we had the other eclipse of the solar eclipse then. We have Passover coming up very quick here. So we had the new moon, and we know now that we can date out Passover. We have, from The Economist, they're saying the rise of the superhuman, the singularity that's probably 5 to 10 years away, just like I'm telling you with the pole flip. So Skynet by 2030, according to Elon Musk and Ted Cruz, killer robots by 2030 are a 20% chance, but AI robots taking over the world, according to Elon, is about 5 to 10 years away. So keep in mind, that's where we're coming. That's what's due. And you can see all the signs converging. World War III is on the docket. You know that. World War II was small. World War III will be huge. The Satanists are moving. They have their planned day of 6/11 of 2025. Then you also have Trump moving hard to make Israel one of the strongest nations in the world and to give them the peace that needs to occur before Gog Magog. You have the eclipses. It's all interesting. You know, Israel's 7-front war, but they're winning all of those. And so the signs in the sky, according to Ben, we're about 3 years away. It's his worst nightmare because he's got young kids. But it is the way things are going. Okay. So on the right-hand side, let your eyes to heaven be turning, darkened sun and falling stars, see the crimson heavens burning, earth prepared for final wars. Hear the scoffer ask with jeering, where's the sign that he is nigh? Turn your eyes with joy and fearing to the omens in the sky. L.D. Santee. Where are we? We're in the birth pangs. I truly believe that we're on the doorstep of the sixth seal. Then the tribulation, and I mentioned to you that you'll notice the silence of the jet streams before we go in. These are the signs. You need to work on you and your loved ones. Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Sukkot of a future year. It'll be a wedding. You can't be naked. You need clean garments. Work on your garments, people. Faith and things that you know are godly. Do those things. So, thank you very much for your time. God bless. Sorry for a long video. It's a busy season. Take care. God bless. Bye-bye.